Hey gang, what's up? I wanted to make a video tonight. Full transparency, I'm very tired. Worked all day, then when I came home, I was having issues with a lot. But this is a video that I've been wanting to make ever since I knew I was gonna start a YouTube channel. It is a horror movie tag challenge, or just horror movie tag questions. Horror movie question tag. I don't know. They're usually just called horror movie tag, and then at the end of the videos you tag other YouTubers so that they will make a video answering the same questions as, you know, it's like playing tag. I mean, shit, if you've been on YouTube for more than a year, you know what tag videos are. And I will say I have 13 questions, and not all of them are like super unique. I know that there's like quite a bit of horror movie tag prompt things floating around the internet now, but I wanted to make my own list so I could tag other creators. And now some of the people I'm going to tag I know have already done a horror movie like video kind of like this before. I'm hoping that the questions are unique enough that they will feel inspired to, you know, do another one. So yeah. And I know with typical like tag videos, the questions only like ask for one answer, but I'm not good at making like singular lists like this. So I'm gonna list like a couple of answers. Feel free to do the same if you get tagged or if you end up doing this tag as well. I'll have the questions listed down below in my description box. That way, if you want to also do it, you have like a fresh slate that you can copy and paste. So enough explaining, let's just start answering these questions, shall we? Okay, first question is, what was the first horror movie you ever watched and how did it shape your love for the genre today? I was like 6 or 7 and I watched the first Scream from 1996. That movie scared the crap out of me. The fact that like you see someone in like a mask running around killing people, like I was obviously too young to understand like the satirical side of the movie. So this movie really messed with me. And add insult to injury, when I was a kid when I watched it, my babysitter at the time let me watch it, and I totally got her in trouble on accident because, you know, obviously my mom found out that I watched it because I was like having nightmares and crying, and I totally caved like any 6-year-old would. Got my babysitter in trouble. Sorry, whoever you were. I hope you're living your best life now. The next one is, what's your favorite horror franchise? This one's hard because I like a lot of them, but if I'm gonna narrow it down to like 2, I would say like the classic Universal Monsters and the Evil Dead franchise. What's a movie that still scares you today? I've actually made a video about this topic in the past, so I'll link that video up top and in my description box. A movie that like absolutely scared me to death when I was a kid was Ernest Scared Stupid. Those movies were not meant to be like actually scary, but leave it to me as a child to watch that like troll thing, and it just ruined my life. It was gross. It looked like it was covered in like snot, and I hated it. So yeah, I actually haven't rewatched it since I was a kid. Maybe I need to revisit it and see if it still elicits the same response. Probably not. I'm an adult. Next one is, what horror movie do you think is overhyped? I want to first say that just because I feel like something is overhyped doesn't mean I like dislike it, but definitely the Saw franchise. I was over those movies like after the second one. I also have a video going in depth about Saw and my opinions on it. And then the next one I know is gonna get me shit, so like I'm sorry in advance, but I really don't see the hype for the Halloween franchise. You know, maybe not so much like the movies, but like Michael Myers as a character, I just don't find him scary. I wasn't introduced to the Halloween series until like, you know, my late teen years, and by that time I'm like watching 70s horror slashers. It just wasn't really effective for me. I can look back on it and say that obviously Halloween and Michael Myers were pivotal for like horror and like as a genre and slashers as a genre. I'll say it with my chest. I'm not a fan of Michael Myers. and I'm not really a big fan of the Halloween franchise. To my new friend and fellow YouTuber, Barebones or Pumpkin Boy, I'm so sorry. I know that you really enjoy that franchise. Please don't think less of me. Next question is, what horror movie do you think deserves more praise? This one's hard because I don't really feel like I like a lot of like underrated movies. I feel like, you know, anytime I find one that might be like a rare gem to me, I go look it up and like it has plenty of like kind of talk about it already. I would say like older films, like older horror, like 70s, 60s and earlier. But I know that there's like a really niche community within the horror fan base that, you know, really enjoys retro horror like I do. So even then, I don't feel like that's really like underrated. I would have to say my answer would be, God, add some salt to the wound from my like previous question, but I kind of liked the Rob Zombie Halloween movies. Ooh, sorry. And also, for some reason, I really like the House of Wax remake from 2005. I don't know. It's just really good, like a teen scream kind of movie. Paris Hilton being in it was dumb, but like, you know, she dies. Next question is favorite horror show or series. This one, super easy, especially if you've been following me for a little bit. Twilight Zone, hands down, all-time favorite. Close second and third would be Are You Afraid of the Dark and Courage the Cowardly Dog, even though they're like kids shows. Next question is favorite horror subgenre. I don't know if they're like considered like monster films, but I call them like creature features. I really like monster movies and like big terrifying creatures like chasing down people and killing them. I really like monsters. I also really like, I don't know if you'd call it like wilderness or like just like horror that takes place in the woods, like camping, hiking, people just going out into the woods thinking they know what they're doing, but like, you know, they get lost and then the sun sets and all shit kind of comes out. There's just something really unsettling about like the unknown of being in the wilderness or being in the woods. Great example is The Ritual, obviously Blair Witch Project. But yeah, I like a forest setting in horror movies a lot. Bonus if it's a forest setting and a monster's after them. Next question is favorite final girl. I actually didn't really know the concept of the final girl trope until I watched Alien. So my go-to final girl is Ellen Ripley. And when I think of the final girl trope, I think of like a badass girl who survives, you know, and yeah, she is absolutely like probably the most badass final girl in my opinion. Next question is, what's something you dislike about horror movies? This one, this is another one that's hard for me personally to answer. I honestly, I can't fault like horror movies as like a thing for this, but the gatekeeping that happens in the horror community is really discouraging, and it's honestly what kept me from branching out and starting to make videos like this, because I was worried that like I would get gatekeeped. I mean, like, my nerd cred is just as valid as anybody else's nerd cred. You know, if I like watching movies, I'm gonna watch them, and if I want to talk about them, I'll talk about them. It absolutely happens, and I've had my fair share of gatekeeping. I'm sure everybody has. That's one thing I really don't like about like the community. But horror movies in general, I hate when like a movie is like unique and does really well, and then like the people who make the movie are like, oh yes, let's, you know, milk every penny and dime out of this idea that we can, and it like really soils your like opinion on the franchise. And it happens a lot. It happens to a lot of horror movie like franchises. I mean, honestly, that's probably why the horror movie franchises exist, is because they're good ideas and they're like, yeah, let's keep it going, let's get as much money as we can out of it. I know I'm not alone in thinking that way, but it definitely gets under my skin when, you know, you watch a really good movie and then you find out that they're making another one, and I don't know, like, if you're gonna do that, I almost wish that they would do it like as an anthology. That way they're like unrelated and they give you like a fresh new idea, but there's no originality left in the world anymore, so maybe that's why they don't come up with new ideas. They just keep coming out with part 2, part 3, or whatever. Next question is, what's the saddest horror movie you've ever watched that's made you cry? Honestly, I cry so much during movies, like in general. I wouldn't be surprised if like I have a list of movies that are like horror and end up making me like shed a few tears. But there's this one movie on Netflix, I think it's called like #Alive or just Alive. It's a South Korean horror film, and it's like a zombie apocalypse type movie. There's a couple of scenes that kind of like pull at my heart that I know made me tear up a little bit. The Mist, I think, gets everybody, honestly. Oh, and The Others, starring Nicole Kidman. Those 3 movies, probably the ones that stick out the most in my mind, that have made me cry. Next question is favorite foreign horror films. And oh man, I do love some Japanese horror. I really like Tokyo Gore Police, Black Rat, Uzumaki, which is like the live version of the manga from Junji Ito, and I really like Suicide Club. Next one is favorite horror movie that started as a book. Now, I feel like my answers are going to be like really generic, but they're the ones that I hold a very like special place in my heart for, and that is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and Stephen King's Pet Sematary. I rewatch Pet Sematary like every year. I actually feel like I much prefer the original movie. The new one is absolute dog shit. As for Frankenstein, yes, I prefer the original black and white one, but I also really like the one, it's like called Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I'll put a poster up on the screen. That one's really good. It even has the monster's bride in it, played by Helena Bonham Carter. I feel like that one, a lot of people are gonna pick Stephen King, but like rightfully so. He's an excellent author. The last question on this list is, what's a horror movie you're looking forward to watching? Now this question's kind of broad. I didn't want to limit it to like upcoming releases because like it's only relevant to like what movies you haven't watched at time of filming this or at time of answering the questions. So I'm gonna answer like upcoming films, and there's one film that I know is out but I just haven't gotten to watch yet. Upcoming films, I really want to see Antlers, I want to see Last Night in Soho, I want to see VHS 94 and Nightmare Alley. Those are like the ones I'm really anticipating. And then the one that's out already is called The Deep House. I just need to go find it, and I think you can like rent it or stream it somewhere. It just looks really good. I remember listening to a No Sleep podcast episode. They found a house underwater, and that episode was so terrifying to me. And this movie just gave me those similar vibes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. But yeah, guys, so that was my horror movie tag. This is like an open tag, so if you want to answer this in a video, or if you want to type out your answers and send them to me, I'm totally open to whatever. So I am going to tag a few people here on YouTube to hopefully do this tag as well. I'm going to tag Anthony Turner, Bare Bones, Rotted Reviews, and Ghosdee. I will have links to their channels down below, as well as their Twitter accounts. Now with this video done, I'm going to go take off my makeup and drink some water and go to bed. I am very tired. I look forward to reading your comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!